Good day everyone, I'm Justin Malabanan from IE2203, and for today's video I'm going to show you how to create a figure with coordinates and dimensions. So I will be doing this figure right here. This is our first activity in computer-aided design. So without further ado, let's start. So we will begin with a line. We'll just click here, line, or just simply type L for shortcut. And we will type the coordinates. And our first coordinates are 1 and 1. So we will type 1, 1. Enter. So our first line will be a straight line. And our next coordinates will be 4.1 and 1. So we will just type number sign 4.1, 1. Enter. And our next line will be a diagonal line with the coordinates of 4.5 and 2.2. So we will just type the number sign 4.5, 2.2. Enter. And for the next line will be a straight line moving to the right with a length of 2.3. So we will just type number sign 2.3. Enter. So for our next line will be a diagonal line with a length of 1.4 and an angle of 30 degrees. So in the figure, we can see that this line from this line to this line is 150 degrees, and we have to take the degrees in here. So in this case, we have to add 30 degrees in here. 30 degrees, 0 to 30 degrees in order to create the 150 degrees angle in here. So we will point the cursor to the 30 degrees and we can type the length 1.4. Number sign 1.4. Enter. So our next line will be a straight line moving up with a length of 2.1. So we will just have to type number sign 2.1. Enter. So our next line is a diagonal line with a length of 1.6. So in this case, in the figure, from this line to this line, we have to have a 150 degrees in here. So we have to take the angle in here. So in this case, we have 90 degrees in here, and in order to have a 150 degrees in here, from here to there, from here rather to here, is to add 30 degrees to the 90 degrees. So 90 degrees plus 30 degrees is 120 degrees. So this will be 120 degrees. And we can type the length of 1.6. Number sign 1.6. Enter. So our next line will be a straight line moving to the left with the length of 1.3. We have to type number sign 1.3. Enter. The next line will be straight line moving down with the length of 1.4. We just have to type number sign 1.4. Enter. So our next line will be a diagonal line with the length of 2.2 and angle of 135 degrees. So in the figure, we can see that here, from this line to this line, we must have 45 degrees. So in this case, we have, in here we have 90 degrees. From here, 90 degrees. We have to add 45 degrees. 190 plus 45 degrees is equals to 135 degrees. So we have to make this 135 degrees. And you can type the length of 2.2. Number sign 2.2. Enter. And for our next line will be a straight line moving to the left with the length of 1.0. Number sign 1.0. Enter. And for our next line will be a diagonal line with the length of 1.5 and with the angle of 135 degrees. So in the figure, we have from this line to this line, we have to have a 45 degrees angle. And in this case, we have 180 degrees in here. And we have to decrease it by 45 degrees. 180 degrees minus 45 degrees is 135 degrees. So we will just have to point the cursor to 135 degrees. And then type the length of 1.5. 1.5. Enter. For our next line is a straight line moving to the left with the length of 1. So we just have to type number sign 1.0. Enter. And for the next line is a diagonal line with the length of 2.3 and an angle of 60 degrees. So we just have to, this is 0 degrees, we just have to point the cursor to 60 degrees. And then type the length of 2.3. Number sign 2.3. Enter. For our last line, we will just have to connect this to our beginning point in here. So there we have it. So we just finished the figure. And the next we will have to do is to put dimensions and the coordinates. So we will use 3 types of dimensions in this figure, which is the linear dimension, the aligned linear dimension, and the angular dimension. To put the dimensions, we will just click here or just simply type DIM, enter. So we will just have to click from point here to here, and we will have the length of, we have the dimension of 2.3, and from here to here we have 1.4, and from here, from this point to this point, we have 2.1. From this point to this point, we have 1.6. And from this point to this point, we have 1.3. From this point to this point, we have 1.4. And from this point to this point is 2.2. From this point to this point is 1. from this point to this point is 1.5. From this to this will be having 1.0, and from this to this we have 2.3. So that's the shortcut in putting dimensions, but you can use this instead. This linear for straight lines, horizontal and vertical, this for diagonal, and this for angle. And for the angle dimension, we will click here, this angular. We will take the angle from this line to this line, this line to this line. We have 150 degrees. And then click here again. From this line to this line, we have 150 degrees. And then from this line to this line, we have 45 degrees. And from this line from this line to this line, we have 45 degrees. And then from this line to this line, we have 60 degrees. So the next one is, in the figure we must have the dimension of 120 degrees in here. So in this case, we must first put a line in here, and then click the angular dimension, and from here to here we have 120 degrees. So we are done putting dimensions, and now we must put the coordinates. And in order to put coordinates, we must type mtext, enter. So I will be putting the first coordinates in here. Our first coordinates is 1 and 1. So our second is type mtext, enter. I will put the coordinate in here. The coordinates in here is 4.1 and 1. 4.1 and 1. And for the third coordinates, mtext, enter. The coordinates are 4.5 and 2.2. 4.5, 2.2. So we are done. So thank you for watching, and see you on my next video.